Praise God is all I can say right now. And first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Ebony Harris. I am Purpose Motivator of Levels and Image Consultant Stylist. I am favored. I am blessed. And I decided to go ahead and just take another leap of faith. And I'm just following. So I'm going to just speak from my heart. And family is where my story starts. And I want to be a testimony, a testament to others who are on this journey in life of giving, who are in this journey of life and understanding that it's not about us. It's all about God, our Creator, who wants us to love others, to pour into others, and to be a reflection of Him. So in doing so, I realized that if I want to grow in my gifts, if I want to be phenomenal and fearless in what God has anointed me to do, then I need to be able to strip myself, reveal myself to others, because oftentimes others are going through the same thing as myself. But not only that, I cannot be a testament to someone else if I haven't decided to take a risk, if I haven't decided to choose, make a conscious decision to follow Christ and follow what has been laid on my heart and follow the vision and the purpose for my life. So that is what this is. So this morning I'm getting ready and I'm just sitting and I'm grateful and thankful, and you know, the enemy was trying to attack me in little different ways, and some he succeeded in, but I still decided to persevere and just triumph over that. So I was sitting here and I said, I have no need to be upset. I need to just follow and heed to God's calling on my life and just do it. So I'm getting frazzled this morning. I'm crying, driving, and thinking about my mom, and thinking about all of the blessings because we just moved into a new home. So what I will say to you, write things down. This is kind of veering off, but write things down. This beautiful home that God has given to me and my family is a result of having bold faith, is a result of writing it down and making it plain and going to that vision every day and looking at it and praying over it and going in prayer with my husband about it and praying with our children about it too, because this is a team effort. So praying with our children and our children saying their own specific prayers about coming out of our storm. And maybe not so much a storm, but coming out of our life lesson, because it was a life lesson for all of us. And the more you get to know me, I'll give you background information on that and how we have the victory in this house. And it's a true blessing. So we're freshly in, so we're still unpacking things, getting it decorated and everything. So I'll give you just a little sneak peek of some things my husband's already put up, if I get this right. So we kind of have, the dining room just a little together, and that's where I'm sitting at now. But we are still working on that. So again, whatever you want in life, write it down. Take it to God in prayer first. Write it down. Make it plain. Meditate on it day, night, whatever it takes. But continue to believe. Never let your faith waver, because there are going to be things that come up against you to attack you, to make you think and believe that your dream isn't going to come true. What God revealed to you isn't going to come true. So you have to stay dedicated. And then you get this as a result. This awesomeness for us to share with others when we welcome them into our home, for us to show that this isn't about us. God did all of this. He did this. And without Him, I am nothing. My family is nothing. So, getting back on track, I wanted to just share with you all my mom, Frida Marie Cooper. An awesome woman, a victorious woman, a warrior. And I just want to take you all to the day that she passed, which was March 19th this year at 9:30 in the morning, Wednesday. Seems like something you'll never forget. And I don't plan on ever forgetting. But, I want to take you on a quick journey of that day, just as another testament, because one of you or some of you may be going through some things and wondering what's on the other side of the pain. So, my mother was, and it's funny how you realize things after someone is gone. And I let my mother know a lot of things while she was here on earth. But the beauty in her passing was that so much more was given to us. So much more was given to me in the passing of her, in the beautiness of it. And it's just mind-blowing how much I am even more blessed by her not being here. It was time for her to go on. It was time. She had planted the seeds and plowed and did everything that God set out for her to do. And it's an amazing story, and it'll be a part of my book. And I thank her, and I thank God for, I thank my mom for allowing herself to be used as a vessel. I thank God for choosing her to be a mother of another queen and a king and another queen, because I have a brother and a sister as well. And I sometimes get at a loss of words. So going back to that day, a couple days prior to, we had a baby shower for another family member. And we had it in my mom's community room in her apartment complex. And my mom was just so eager about getting things together and making sure she had a gift for her. This would have been her great nephew. Great-great-nephew, yes. So she was very excited and everything. And prior to that, probably like a Wednesday or Thursday, my daughter and I had taken her to her doctor appointment. And, you know, she wasn't doing too well, but she was still up in spirit. She was still her. So that was like a Wednesday or Thursday. That Saturday was the baby shower, and we went to the baby shower, and I went up to my mom's apartment, and she was just, it was different. It was totally different. She looked very tired. She looked very tired. I think that's the only word I can come up with. She looked extremely tired, and she looked so frail and little. So frail and little. And she eventually came down. She wasn't eating a lot because they had prior to taken some things upstairs for her to eat, because she said she would come down in a little bit. She just wasn't feeling too well. So she eventually came down, and when she came around the corner into the community room, my mother looked just so different. She had like a shuffle to her. And I kept looking around the room, and I'm just like, no one notices this? Like, are you kidding me? No one sees that she almost looks like she's on her deathbed. And I never saw my mom shuffle before. Like I said, I just was with her on that Wednesday or Thursday and had taken her to a doctor appointment. And it was a transformation that fast. So after the baby shower, we went upstairs, and I briefly stopped for it. Actually, no, I didn't go upstairs. My sister went upstairs, but I gave my mom a hug at the elevator and told her, I would see her later and everything, wanted to get the kids and the family home. That was a Saturday. That Tuesday, I got a phone call from my aunt. I was upstairs with my daughter and playing with her, and I heard my phone ring. And I ran downstairs, got the phone, saw that I had a voicemail. And it was just a message on there saying that my aunt had called an ambulance for my mom. And she didn't want me to worry, but they were at the hospital. And, come down. So in that moment, I didn't have that feeling of like, oh my goodness, she's about to pass. I just was like, God, please just don't let it be. But I didn't feel like she had passed or she was getting ready to pass. I just felt like an urgency just to, ask God to keep her a little while longer. So nonetheless, by the time my husband got home from work, we immediately went down there, which was probably an hour later or so. And when I got there, my mom, her breathing was labored a bit, and probably within about 30 minutes it started getting back to regular breathing. So while she's laying there, she just looked tired, and I just said, Mom, why didn't you call anyone? Why didn't you da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And she just said, Ebony, I just didn't have the strength. I didn't have the strength to even pick up my cell phone. And I'm like, wow, like, it's just a cell phone. I mean, it's, it's not anything heavy. But it was then that I realized she was transitioning on, because she had said the Holy Spirit, she had heard the knocking at the door when my aunt got there, and she said, I didn't want to answer. And one thing about my mom, when she does not want to be bothered, honey, she will not be bothered. It didn't matter if you were outside or not. She would be sitting where she wanted to sit or doing whatever she wanted to do, and she knows how to ignore people extremely well. Extremely well. So she said, I just didn't have the energy. I just couldn't get up, and I couldn't get the phone. I couldn't. And she said, but the Holy Spirit kept telling her, Frida, I need you to get up. I need you to get up. So she said she got up, went to the door, and my aunt said that's when she was just breathing really heavy and just couldn't move and everything like that. So I said, okay, Mom. So a couple months prior to that, my mom had a surgery. I'm just going to back up. My mom had a surgery in January because the cancer had resurfaced, and I guess I forgot to state that at the beginning. My mom had cancer. She was diagnosed when I was pregnant with my son. So this is roughly about 5 years ago. Shortly after, maybe about 2-3 years, and went into remission and came back again in January. When it came back, it became more aggressive. So they went ahead, did a surgery in January this year, and got everything else told us it was a success, was going to start on the chemo treatment, everything. But after that surgery, my mom said, Ebony, things aren't the same. Things aren't the same. And we talked a lot in January. And prior to, my mother and I talked a lot on a spiritual level about our relationships with Christ and our belief in God. And she just said, I keep dreaming about Mommy, talking about her mom and about her brother. And she said, what do you think that means, Ebony? And I said, I don't know. But we talked about being fearless. And she said, I just don't want to go in pain. I said, well, Mom, are you afraid to go? And she said, no, I just don't want to go in pain. That's the only thing that concerns me. And I said, okay. And she said, something's not right, Ebony. Something isn't right. And I said, well, Mom, the last time you had a surgery, it was about 2 years ago she had a surgery. And I said, you're 2 years older, your body has changed, sometimes you just have to go through the motions, and this process may take a while longer than previous. And she said, yeah, I know, but something's just not right. It's not right. I said, okay. So now we're going to fast forward to March again. So we're in there, and we're talking and everything, and, she's talking, but I can tell she's tired. But she wasn't tired in a way that made her look like she did on Saturday when I had seen her. She just looked tired in a way of, I'm tired of this earthly lifestyle. I'm bored with this. I'm ready to go on. And I just was like, wow, and I just kept looking at her, and my mom always has very beautiful skin, and I'm just looking at her, and she's laughing and saying some things and everything, but by this time, now it's been about 2 hours, they're still running tests, and she's pretty much back to her perky self. Another thing about my mom, she's always on the go. Go, 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 go. You cannot hold her down. She's very active. She loves being outdoors, loves being by the water, will walk anywhere, loves being out. So I started seeing this come back in her. So her sister and I are sitting there talking, and by this time we've called all the family just to, let them know what's going on. Now she's doing better, but they're still trying to figure out, why she had a dip, why her blood pressure is low, why her breathing was so labored and shallow. Eventually, the doctors came in, and once they came in, they had told her, Mrs. Cooper, your cancer, of course, is back. And we need to do another surgery. And in doing so, there's a 99% chance that you won't come through. The other option is not to do surgery. However, if you opt to not do surgery, you will not be here tomorrow. And I watched my mom as she heard this. And I saw in her courage. I saw in her a child ready to go on and be with their daddy. A child eager and excited. You know how when daddy comes home, you're like, oh, daddy, 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 daddy. And I see it in my daughter all the time. She gets super excited. But that's what I saw come over my mother. And I'm listening, but I'm not reacting. But I'm listening. And my mom said, while we're all there, her sisters, my sister as well, she said, just as plain as day, no, I don't want any more surgeries. It's okay. Just like that. Just like that. I don't know how many people can know that they are facing death in an instant. In an instant. And be strong enough and courageous enough and not try and stay back and hold on and say, no, I didn't get to do this yet. No, I didn't get to do that yet. No, I want this. No, I want this. In that moment, my mother exhibited so much selflessness, so much giving of herself to say it's not about me. It's about him. And it's time for me to go. And I looked and I said, Mom, are you sure? Do you know what they're saying? Because I'm trying to find every excuse in the book for her to come up with a reason as to why she wouldn't want another surgery. And she said, no, Ebony, you don't understand. It's okay. Just like that. And I said, but Mama, she said, no. You don't understand. You know what, Ebony? Just like this. Right, I gotta do it right. Put our glasses on. Don't worry. And my mom knows that's me. I'm a worrier. Whether it's about me or about others or just life situations, which I'll talk about that on another upload. Letting go of worry. And she knows, and that's all she ever wanted from me was not to worry, because she knows of how the lifestyle that I led of wanting to be a perfectionist. And I've grown from that. So I just said, okay, Mom. And I said it again, Mom, are you sure like you got another surgery? So now my sister says to me, Ebony, she's fine. She said no. And I said, okay. So during that transition, she says, you know what, bring my grandbabies in, my two little babies. And she said, bring, Juan in, my husband. So I go out, bring them in. And the kids are just giving her hugs and kisses. And she says, you know what? Grandma's not going to be here anymore. I'm sorry, G-Ma. That's what she calls it. G-Ma's not going to be here anymore. I'm going to go be with God. And they just were like, okay, love you, Grandma. Love you, G-Ma. gave her a kiss and hugs and, face looking at her, and that's my daughter's name. She said, Gma, you in the hospital again? Because she always pretty much accompanies us to all the doctor's appointments and is always there when my mom is in the hospital. And that was a great moment for them to have. So in fast forwarding, family comes in and we're talking and we're laughing and just a beautiful time. So they said, well, we'll go ahead and just get you prepared, Mrs. Cooper. We'll go and get your room upstairs so pretty much you can transition on to glory. And she says, okay, just plain as day. Okay. Now, family's crying here and there, but it was kind of hard to stay down because my mom was so okay with everything. And because she had planted so many seeds within each of us that we actually kind of felt like it's selfish of us to want her here anymore. We would be doing a disservice by keeping her here. Transition upstairs, and my mom doesn't want anyone to help her in the bed, the nurse or anyone. She said, I can get up and get in the bed myself. And my pretty much a lot of my family members work in the medical field, and my one cousin, she who's just as feisty as my mom, she's trying to help her, and she said, okay, Aunt Sexy. That's another name they call my mom, Aunt Sexy, if that gives you any inkling into her. But she gets in the bed and she's talking to us and watching TV, and by this time they started the morphine drip, and my kids and husband are going on home, and I'm like, go and take care of them, let them get some rest, everything, just, so they can go to school in the morning, and I'll see you guys in the morning. So we're there and we stay the night, and I'm holding my mom's hand between her and her sisters. I mean, my mom had a room full of people. Family, surrounded by family, surrounded by her pastor and members of her church. Who has the opportunity to have that? And my mom loves attention too. So this was all eyes on her, all about her, which she enjoys. And it was just a beautiful moment. So coming into everyone being there, and now you can see she's getting tired because she's starting to nod off and everything. And, the pastor singing to her, and my mom, has her Bible, and, we're reading scripture from the Bible, and, which isn't untypical, I guess if that's the word. I just made it up if it's not. Typically we do read the Bible, so this wasn't something new for us, but I point that out because, again, it was all about God, and we need to acknowledge Him in this moment, and Him allowing us to have for a moment His child, His daughter, and making sure that we acknowledge that. And the reason why we're here is because of Him and His infinite power. So we're doing all that, and the night drags on, and it's like you're waiting, is this the last breath? Because I don't know if any of you have watched death before. It's a very humbling experience. It's a very sacred experience. It's a very emotional experience. It forever changes you. And spiritual moment, because I was very in tune to my surroundings and spirits, and listening and being still. So in watching death occur, I had a lot of time to go through some emotions. And the first emotion was I was angry because I'm like, Mom, why are you giving up? Why are you giving up? I've never known my mom to give up. She was a part of the Black Panther movement. She raised 3 kids in public housing. She is a recovering alcoholic. She just never gave up on so many different things, and who knows what else she's encountered in her life that I don't know of. But I'm just like, what? Like, really? Like, you're not going to have another surgery and da 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 da, and I had sat there and I said, oh, she's just giving up. And my husband had to point out to me, no, she didn't give up. And I felt bad in that moment because I was just like, wow, I didn't see it. But that's why you surround yourself around others, because we all have different perspectives. Others who want to uplift you, others who see things differently than you, others who can pour into you. My husband is one of those people. And he said, no, she didn't give up. How could you say that? She didn't give up. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she was okay with it. You weren't okay with it, and that's your issue. And I said, oh, no, he didn't. But it was right. And that's when I saw even more beauty in it, in that she was brave enough to do what so many of us are oftentimes afraid to do, which was just let go and let God. So during that time overnight, I'm holding her hand and you're listening to her breathing, just listening to that breathing, that shallow breathing, that is this about to be your last breath? Is this about to be your last breath? So we endured the night with her, got up that next morning, and, well, pretty much didn't get up because we didn't sleep all night. And, you know, the nurses came in and just told us to keep talking to her. And one thing that the nurse believed was you could still hear, even though my mom had stopped talking by this point, she felt like they can still hear us, and talk and read to her and sing to her, until her last breath. And that's exactly what we did. And everyone in that room, I'm so grateful for them to be there in that moment of my mom transitioning this life. I'm grateful for the support that we had during those last hours. I'm grateful for who God chose to encamp around us. My mother took her last breath and was surrounded by so many of us who love her. And when she took that last breath, I felt like she was already standing tall, even though she was lying down. She had lied down in submission and stood up in grace. So I want you all to know today that I still have a hard time. I smile because there's so much beauty in her story. I cry because I miss her and I wish she could see this house physically, be here to see how God brought my family through the life lesson that we had to go through, to come out on the other side of this beautiful home that we are excited to share with others and have over and welcome them and feed their soul and have fun and laughter with. And I wish this seat she could occupy physically. And I want to just see her smile and laugh and be out in the front yard, in the backyard, where I specifically wrote down that I wanted a tree. Because that's where we're rooted. This is just the first anchor. And say, Mama, look, you taught me this, because she did. My mother was a phenomenal writer. And there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of journals that she has left us with. And I would always say, Mom, why are you buying another book again? You didn't even finish completing that one. But it was everyone that was beautiful and spoke to her, and she wrote a lot in each of them. Some were all the way full, some, or pretty much halfway full. She did use them. She didn't write just one little sentence in there and that was it. But not knowing then and teasing her that she left us with this gift. This gift that will forever be her. And she said, don't you ever forget me. Wrote it on all the back of her pictures. In fact, no, this picture doesn't belong here. My sister, when we were unpacking boxes, like a couple last week or so, she found this one picture that we had got after we had to pack up my mom's apartment, and she just stood up here in the kitchen on the wall, and I don't want it there right now. I have a special place that I want to put it, and we do it, but I'm just going to show you how my mom just wrote on things, okay? So this is a picture of her and her, I don't know, I'm probably not doing a good job. Maybe I need to move back. Her and her siblings. My mother is the tall one. You see her with her little Jerry curl. The very tall one in the back. Those are her two sisters, her mom and her brother. And she has on there, Frida on Sexy Queen, baby sis. I'll meet y'all there. So, those are the type of things my mom did. And she was a funny lady too. But, and when she passed, I kind of jump all over the place. She actually had a smile on her face. Like, literally, when people say some people die, with their face all scrunched up and everything, my mom didn't have that. It was just so peaceful, and it was just like she was laying there so beautifully and smiling. She looked regal, like a queen. And I was just like, oh, my goodness, this is mind-blowing. Like, look at her. In fact, the hospital had to tell us, oh, you all have to leave. Not in a bad way, but because we were there just celebrating, and we were sitting there with her, dead in the bed. We're sitting there, we're laughing, we're fellowshipping, pretty much. We are fellowshipping. And friends came in, and my husband's best friend had came in by this point in time and sat and talked and had some memories and talked about how beautiful she looked even just lying there in her shell. So that moment brought so much clarity for us. And like I said, I cry because of the testimony. I cry because I want her to physically be here to see some of these things. And one thing I want to know, so I went in, later on after we left the hospital and everything, because my husband was there by that time, and my daughter, because she wasn't she was still at home with me as a stay-at-home mommy at this time, and my husband left to go and pick our son up from school. So when he came back to my mom's apartment, I said, did Daddy talk to you about G-Mon? He said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, well, are you okay or you want to be okay? And he said, yeah, I don't need her anymore. And I was floored. And I said, did this little boy just say that about my mother? Again, as you sit back and reflect, I thought, no, he was right on the money. He didn't need her anymore. And out of the mouth of babes, no, we don't need her anymore. And he made it so plain and simple to where we make things super complicated. Even now, when I cry and everything, my kids say, just go read her book, go read her book. And they're referring to her obituary. So, my son was so right in that. And oftentimes we just have to take notice of children. And we have to go back at times to being childlike in order to understand the blessing in things. Because God says, I make things simple and plain for you. We make it all complicated. Simple and plain is the fact, in other words, trust me. It becomes complicated because we want to trust ourselves. when we trust him, it is that simple as, I don't need her anymore. Because that's not who we put our trust in. We put our trust in him. So, this has been very therapeutic for me. I just wanted to share that with you all because it will be in an upcoming book that I have, and I am so grateful and thankful, and I boast on God, on him, for choosing my family to be the recipient of such a blessing. Before, I wanted to shy away from it. And I said no. And God said no. This is what I do all day long. And I need others to know about it. So, no, I'm not hiding behind it. And then part of me was, I don't want someone who did lose a parent or a friend or whomever to feel saddened or upset because I had this moment with my mom and I had these experiences with her during her passing, and I didn't want to make them feel bad. And I still don't want to make anyone feel sad or uneasy. That's not my intent. It's not. My intent is to show you that in all, give glory to God. In all, see the beauty of whatever trials and tribulations you are going through. To know that on the other side of that, it's necessary and needed for you to go through. But on the other side of that is growth, is learning, is the ability to share with others and be an encouragement to them. It's an ability for you to learn from others because they're on the outside seeing what you may not see, and they start pouring things into you to help you process some things that you otherwise may not have been able to see. The whole process is about embracing it. The whole process is about not being ashamed of what you go through. Everything ain't for everybody, true. But there's a whole lot that God intended for us to share, and I have chosen to do so. I have chosen to follow his lead. It feels good. It feels good to have her journals here. It feels good to have her earrings on. My mother was godly, a praying woman on her knees and standing up. She prays no matter what. And I've just had those throughout my life. You know, and last year we gave her a 60th birthday party, and she got to see. And I have to shout out my sister, Jasmine, because she was the one who kept pushing for it to happen. And at that time, financially, it was just crazy for me. And I was just like, no, sister, like, let's wait until next year, you know, to where I'm in a better space. Again, see, me. Gotta take me out of there. But that's where I was at. Me wanting to be in control. Me, like my mama told me, stop worrying. If I would have did all of that, I could have caused a lot less stress. In turn, I resisted my sister, but she still persevered. So she got that from my mom, and I acknowledge her effort, and my hat goes out to her for doing that, because look what happened. There is no this year for my mom, and we would have missed out for that opportunity when her birthday came in July of this year. So she was surrounded by those who love her, and people got up on the microphone and acknowledged her, and she in turn got on the microphone and said some very wonderful, inspiring words, which is her. She's a motivational purpose motivator like myself. That's where I get it from. My mama's the original purpose motivator. So she did that and had the opportunity to share with others her gifts. So I will be back. I had to share that. I had to take some of this off, and I feel like I'm rambling with some things, but I'm going to upload this and see what happens from there, because it's not about what other people's opinions are of me and what I say and what I do. My only responsibility is to follow the calling on my life, on my heart, to serve you. To serve you, my brother, my sister. To serve you. And in doing so, I'm finding more and more and more out about myself. I live by this. Those who show up, go up. So every day I show up on your YouTube, know that God is taking me up, because there's levels to this. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. And thank you for allowing me, for taking the time to listen, for allowing me a few moments in your life. God bless.